Meet the updated Polestar 2 for 2024 with more power, more performance and more driving range. Polestar's also filled in some of the gaps in its safety lineup, however not all of them, and the price has gone up. In this video, we'll go through the key changes, tell you which model we reckon is the pick of the range, and also tell you what it's like to drive. Let's take a closer look. If you think this looks like a Volvo, you'd be right. Polestar is the Chinese-built electric car offshoot of Volvo, and this car was in fact originally meant to be sold as a Volvo until the company decided to create a new brand with a new badge and a new name. The first model, the Polestar 2, arrived in Australia about 18 months ago in early 2022. This is its first major update before other new from the ground up electric cars from Polestar join the local lineup over the next year or so. Although the styling changes are subtle, there are 4 models in the updated Polestar 2 range, referred to as the MY24 or 2024 model year. There is the standard range single motor, starting from $67,400 before on-road costs and options, the long range single motor, starting from $71,400, the long range dual motor, starting from $76,400, and the flagship model, the long range dual motor with performance pack, from $85,400 before on-road costs and options. All 4 models in the new Polestar 2 lineup have a longer claimed driving range than their predecessors and brisker performance. The single motor standard range and long range models are powered by an updated 220 kilowatt, 490 Newton meter electric motor, now powering the rear wheels rather than the front. The long range dual motor has combined outputs of 310 kilowatts and 740 Newton meters, with one motor at the front and one at the rear, delivering all-wheel drive grip. The long-range dual motor with the performance pack has a total output of 350 kilowatts and 740 Newton meters. The standard range Polestar 2 has a 69 kilowatt-hour battery pack with 67 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity, while the other 3 variants have 82 kilowatt-hour battery packs with 79 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity. That translates to a claimed maximum driving range on a single charge of up to 532 kilometres in ideal conditions on the standard range model, and up to 654 kilometres on the long range model. However, Polestar notes these regulatory numbers are optimistic figures, with real-world data showing comfortable driving range maximums closer to 450 and 550 kilometres respectively. And the high-powered all-wheel drive models have real-world driving ranges closer to 500 kilometres. Acceleration has also been improved across the range. More about that shortly. For now, let's take a look inside. As before, the Polestar 2 interior has a really quality feel about it, including upmarket materials on the dash, doors. This model has optional white leather seats, and the infotainment screen is massive. However, it does have some drawbacks. To find the air conditioning controls, you need to press this tab, which can be a bit fiddly when you're on the move. We also had a couple of glitches with the Apple CarPlay system on the pre-facelift Polestar 2 we drove to the launch. And oddly, the volume control switch also didn't work when adjusting volume for the infotainment or phone calls. Other dislikes for me, although the panorama sunroof is UV tinted, it doesn't have a shade cloth to stop glare. The sun visors don't extend all the way to block side glare. And there's no AM radio on this car. So if you're in a regional area and you need to listen for alerts for bushfires and floods, you really are relying on the smartphone connection if there's mobile phone range. Good points. The driving position's really comfortable. All the cabin controls are really well laid out. I like this touch of the parking ticket holder in the windscreen. That should be standard on every car. The premium Harman Kardon audio system is epic. It should be standard, but unfortunately it is still an option. And the instrument cluster is really clear and easy to follow. As you can see, back seat space is tight. I've barely got any headroom, barely got any knee room, and I can't fit my feet under the seat in front. And the back seat's also quite cozy. There's 3 seat positions, but there really is only room for 2 adults. For those with kids, there are 2 ISOFIX mounting points in the outboard positions, and you can fit an old school child seat in the middle because there's a top to the point in the middle seating position. As far as power goes, we have 2 USB-C charge ports, and there are rear air vents. As with most electric cars, the Polestar 2 has a storage space under the bonnet, also known as a frunk, which is a combination of front trunk in American speak. But because the Polestar 2 started life as an internal combustion engine car or a petrol car, This platform wasn't really set up to be electric, so that's why this frunk is quite small compared to other cars. The boot size is okay, but not best in class, with only 405 litres of space, including a 41 litre storage compartment under the boot floor, which is the same size recess as under the bonnet. And, as is often the case with electric cars, there's no spare tyre. We are in the rear-wheel drive long range, which is the middle of the new Polestar 2 lineup for 2024. And while there is a slightly bigger battery, Polestar says they've found some extra efficiencies as well. The suspension is still a touch on the firm side. I'm not sure if the microphone is picking up some of the thumping under the body right now, but it's definitely not uncomfortable. The suspension is busy but well controlled, and you can really feel the weight of this car. All electric cars are heavy, but fortunately all that weight is down low in the floor. That said, the laws of physics still apply here. There are two main differences switching from front drive to rear wheel drive. You can feel a slightly more neutral weight balance in corners, but there's actually a downside to this change most buyers probably aren't expecting. One of the great things about a lot of electric cars is they have regenerative braking, which means the electric motor adds some extra tension to help slow the car down. And a lot of cars have adjustment, whether that's a light input, a heavy input, or no input at all. Polestar gives you that choice, and actually once you get used to it, it has a one pedal driving mode, a bit like a Dodgem car. In one pedal mode, the braking is so aggressive, as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, the car slows suddenly. But that's not the case with the rear-wheel drive, and the reason is really simple. In a front-wheel drive car under heavy brakes, there's less risk of the vehicle squirming as you pull up to a stop. With a rear-wheel drive car, if they put all the braking power on the back, it could actually cause the car to skid out of control. And I've got to say, that's one of the downsides of going to a rear-wheel drive car. I was really excited about this model. Now I'm having second thoughts. Plus sides, the base model Polestar has definitely had a performance boost. The company says it does 0 to 100 in about 6.4 seconds. That's not much slower than a Volkswagen Golf GTI hot hatch. And by the seat of the pants, you can really feel the difference. This thing is quick. And this isn't even the fast one. This is part of the appeal with the electric cars. It's the seamless, instant throttle response, whether you bought the cheap one, the mid-grade one, or the dear one. For some people, electric cars really are all about the environment. And for other people, it's how the car drives. I get the appeal, but these cars still have an environmental footprint no matter how you charge it. And that's why Polestar is going to such extraordinary lengths to try and improve the sustainability of its future cars. To help underline the sustainability point, Polestar has treated all media guests to a vegan menu, whether they like it or not, while the support crew have been able to have whatever they want to eat, so there's a bit of jealousy going on. The media are looking at the support staff like a St. Bernard eyeing off a barbecue. So we decided to take a detour from the winding country roads mapped out for us for the media preview drive so we could test the suspension on suburban streets. And we accidentally ended up at a fried chicken shop. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video, please go to drive.com.au to read the full review on the Polestar 2. In the meantime, hit like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future updates. Well, we've got gold seat belts, and that means we're in the Performance Edition. And although we've barely left the car park, you can instantly tell the suspension is firmer in this model. And that's despite the fancy Öhlins shock absorbers. Is the suspension as firm as an old school HSV or Ford performance vehicle? It's not far off. Polestar claims this model does 0 to 100 in about 4.5 seconds. And it wasn't that long ago that would have been Porsche 911 quick. As you can probably see, it's starting to sprinkle with rain at the moment. We're just having to activate the wipers every now and then, so it's just a light spray. But I gotta tell you, I'm a lot more comfortable that this car has all-wheel drive than if we were in a car with this much power with two-wheel drive. Then that really would be a handful. I've got to say the suspension does iron out the bumps a little better in the 80 to 100 km/h range. They call that high-speed ride in car jargon. So it's fair to say the low-speed ride comfort, so 40 to 60 kilometres an hour in suburban areas, is not going to be as comfortable in the top of the range Polestar than it would be once you get out onto the open road. And to prove that point, we've just encountered a spoon drain at the perfect time. It is definitely more bearable once you're at country road cruising speeds. The high-performance Polestar 2 does feel more agile, more responsive, more like it's ready to encounter whatever the road throws at it. The steering's a bit sharper, the response from the suspension is a bit sharper, and on straight sections of road, it's still relatively comfortable. But the Polestar 2 High Performance Edition really comes alive when you do this. That is nuts. Wow. That is a quick car. We didn't bring our V-Box with us on this one, but this car is definitely somewhere in the 4-second range. If this level of performance is the future of electric cars, I'm in. But do you need all that performance? Not really. But does it help justify to your V8 driving mates why you bought an electric car? Probably. So which one would I choose? The heart says the performance model, and that's the one that really gets the heart racing, but the sensible choice has to be the long-range rear-wheel drive, and that's the middle of the lineup. To read the full review on the Polestar 2 and catch up with the latest news, go to drive.com.au. Please hit like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future updates.